Hi, guys. This is Robert Rivera with the Rivera Trading Group, and this is the weekly recap, episode 78, where we review the trades of the week, the setups from the week. Not all setups are taken. I usually trade live with the team at least 3 to 4 or maybe sometimes 5 days a week, and we'll pick one. Last Friday was an exception. We picked two. I took two at the same time, GBP, USD, and gold, and that was pretty nice. But most of the time, we just pick one and we go with it. But we do have 3 strategies and 4 different setups that we play, 2 during London and 2 during New York. And so I go through each one of those trades to review how the setups did. That way, we can see that we are maintaining our edge. And if something shifts, we can also notice that quickly so that we can make the adjustments necessary. Let's go right into it. This is the 30-minute setup on gold, GBP USD, and GBP JPY from left to right. And this is sent out to the team an hour or two before London so they can be ready to trade it. Sometimes it's earlier if the setups are already there. All right, this is the setup as we had it for Monday, and these are the results. We have a failed retest on gold, which is rare because gold has been paying so well. Okay, on the left, and then we have a successful break and retest for GBP USD. GBP JPY broke out, but it gave no retest during the London session, and that's why I don't have anything marked there, even though there were plenty of pips that were made during that breakout. There's no retest, and we judge our results based on the retest. Okay, that was the first day of the week. This is the second day of the week. We have a break and retest of 17 pips. On gold, we have a break and retest of 11 pips on GU, and we have a break and retest of GBP-JPY. Now, 11 pips may not seem like a lot, but in a situation like this where the stop loss is 3 pips, that's better than 3 to 1. And so, again, we judge our setups based on the risk reward and how well we can execute it. So that I think, let me think about which one. I believe that the one we took on this case was GBP USD, if I remember correctly. Okay, now this is the next day's setup. We can see how price is stuck within these ranges. I don't like GBP USD in this scenario here. It doesn't look very good. Gold has been paying us very well, so I'm keeping my eye on gold in this situation. And I do like the way that GBP JPY has set up as a rejection at the very top. Let's see what kind of results we got. I guess there was news on this day because you look at the reaction of GBP USD and GBP JPY. There must have been news on that day. And so there were no trades for GBP USD or GBP JPY given GBP news. And gold had a beautiful break and retest. This is the one that was very difficult to hold on to this position because the retest zone was rejected several times, but once we entered, price went down 17 pips, came back to be negative, whatever, and then it goes down to be about 36 pips in profit, and then it goes back up, and it was at one point it was even negative 20 pips, and then finally it paid for a beautiful 73 pips with breakout and retest, and only 5 pips drawdown. This is a perfect example of why not to mess around with your trade once you have analyzed it and executed on it, because as long as price is respecting, like in this case, what I kept seeing was that no candle, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles that are 30 minutes each, and none of them were able to close back inside the zone. So basically a massive area of supply, and it just keeps selling and selling and selling. Finally, it broke to the downside significantly. Okay, now this is the next day. I can't remember, this says May the 22nd here at 9 o'clock at night. And I sent out gold, and I sent out GBP USD, and I sent out GBP JPY. And these are the results. We got a break and retest of 5 pip drawdown from gold for 200 pips. That's 2,000 points. It just was a massive, massive win. I believe, if I'm correct, that's the one we took. GBP USD broke and retested beautifully for 16 pip with 6 pip drawdown, and GBP JPY did not break out during our session. Then we got the next day, beautiful consolidation. This is pretty. Actually, this was during the New York session in the morning because I traded New York a couple of times this week, and so this was during the New York session. We have this is gorgeous consolidation for GBP USD and gold, but GBP JPY was already breaking out when we came to the session. In fact, you can see over here, it says 8:14. So it's 8:14 in the morning, and by 8:30 it had broken out, and we're looking for the retest, which was very nice. Here's the retest, beautiful retest, and took off. And this is the one that we took for the win. That was better than 3-1, if I remember correctly. GBP USD also broke and retested and went, and gold stayed within its range. Okay, I believe those were the trades of the week on the 30-minute breakout. Yep. Now, this is the 4-hour setup. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but basically we have a 4-hour Asia and London combination setup that pays with quite consistent. You can see how consistently this has paid. And this is a 1-to-1 on the 4-hour for gold. What we ended up with on the first night was no execution because I did not go with our bias, and so we had no entry. And then we have the next day, we have a beautiful win to the downside. The following day, we had another beautiful win to the downside. The next day, we had a beautiful win to the upside as it started moving up. And I think there's one more. Let me see. No, that was that. So significant week for for gold. I believe the top of the week lost, and then the rest of the week it won for a beautiful win rate. That was basically 3-1 or 4-1, something like that. Now this setup right here, this is the NASDAQ during New York. This is a 5-minute supply and demand is what we're looking for after the 9:30 open. And this is a beautiful one right here, how I paid. And we're only looking to get a 1-to-1 on this. We can usually catch more if we're not getting into a situation like this where the stop loss is so far away from entry. But on this, 1-to-1 is plenty. Okay, so it won on Monday, it won on Tuesday, it won on Wednesday, nothing happened on Thursday, and it won again on Friday. So 4-0 for the NASDAQ setup. And again, you can see how clean these setups are and how easy they move and how well they paid. This one right here paid better than 4-to-1. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And so again, just reviewing back to see how our edge is performing and how then we can take advantage of it if we are trading in that session. All right. And if we're still around after maybe taking a couple of wins or a win during New York. Okay, now this is the 5-minute setup for London on Monday. It took a loss on gold, took a beautiful win. This is very easy, right? Finally leaving behind a gap, came and mitigated and dropped beautifully. Nothing happened for GBP JPY during London. Then during New York, we have a break of structure to the downside, gap, mitigation, beautiful pay, 2-to-1 here. 2-to-1 also for the GBP USD. Then we have the next day, this one shows both New York and London. This is how I usually send them out so they can see the results that we got. So basically during London, nothing happened for gold, but then it paid during New York for GBP USD and incurred a loss and a win in the same session with nothing happening, a break even basically on GBP USD in the morning for New York because it broke, retested, and went significantly up, probably better than 1-to-1. Well, it has to be 1-to-1 in order to be a break even because otherwise I don't consider it a break even. So it went better than 1-to-1 and then finally came back to entry, so that's a break even. I believe that it did continue going up, but once it comes back to entry, I have to consider that this is a break even. And GBP JPY paid beautifully during London, and same situation as GBP USD. It was a break even for for New York. Okay, then we have perhaps the last day of the week. We have a beautiful break of structure. This is our classic break and retest of the zone as far as the 30-minute. This is a beautiful setup for our 30-minute right here, but it also paid very well. I love when I have this confluence. When I have the confluence of the 30-minute setup combining with the 5-minute setup, It's just beautiful. It gives you a much higher risk reward on the 5-minute setup while utilizing the market structure of the 30-minute setup. And this is gorgeous right here. This is paid like 5-1 on that one. And then this is an odd day when hardly anything worked. The only thing that worked was gold during London, and everything else failed to give us any entry. And then the final day of the week, we have a break of structure right there, a mitigation to the gap right here during New York. Nothing happened during London. This is gold, and look how it dropped beautifully, very strong after that. During London, we have a failed demand zone for GBP USD, which was a loss, and then two potential wins during New York. We had a demand zone with a break of structure that came and mitigated and paid, and then we also have a higher supply zone from before, the day before, that mitigated finally and paid very nicely for 2-1. And nothing happened during London for GBP JPY, and for New York, the same situation as it did with GBP USD, which kind of shows you that on this day, GBP was in charge, right? Because it paid us both for GBP JPY and also for GBP USD. I think I have one more setup. Let's see. Okay, here it is, the final day. We have a win during London for gold on the 5 minutes demand. Also, again, break of structure, gap, mitigated gap, payment during gold for New York. Nothing happened during London for GBP USD. Similar situation over here as far as demand zone. We have a break of structure to the upside with a gap, mitigated the gap, paid nicely to the upside, and no setups whatsoever for GBP JPY. I did not do the final numbers of all the pips and all that like I used to do. I'm just documenting the trend of our setups. We are winning consistently. We have a high win rate. We have a consistent risk reward of 2-1. Sometimes we just take the 1-1 if that's what the market is offering on that day. A review of this kind allows us to see that our edge is still present and we can continue to execute on it. Okay, I hope you found this helpful and that you have a great weekend, and see you all next week. God's blessings to everybody. Bye-bye.